Hello and welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for joining me today. Today we have the big long-awaited life update. I've been hinting at a few things in my recent vlogs about big changes coming up, and here I am, here to spill all of the big changes about to happen. I join you from Home of the Arts, Hotter for short, on the Gold Coast, one of my favourite places here. The park's really busy, there's people sunbathing, there's people running, there's bin chickens roaming about. So apologies if this is a little bit interrupted, but I just wanted to feel like a FaceTime, me and you, on like a voice note. I've had to use my phone as it's very windy today, and I've tried to film this video for the last couple of days, but the wind is winding in the Gold Coast at the moment. I think there's actually a cyclone on its way, Hamish keeps telling me, so God knows what that's going to look like. But anywho, we're joining you from Hotter. I'm looking up at the high rises of Gold Coast. I'll show you a clip of what I'm looking at, and it all feels quite reflective, I guess, as this is the one place that I came early on when I moved to the Gold Coast, and it really just felt like a really safe space, a really peaceful, serene, lovely place. So I thought that it was only right to film today's video here. And the big news is I am leaving Australia in a couple of weeks. So it's nearly March 2025. I got here in September 2024, if you don't know my story. I'm Heidi, I'm 28. I moved here from London in September, and I moved with my boyfriend who is Australian. He was set up his life in London. He has a UK passport, very jammy. And we got together in London, and then one day I turned to him and I said, let's go and give Australia a go. And he was quite shocked, to be fair. He had to take a couple of days to think about it. And then there we were. We found ourselves in the Gold Coast in September 2024. I hadn't really done too much research. I hadn't really been able to envision the life that I had here, apart from the fact that I would get a similar job and I would get a similar kind of friendship group. I kind of just thought I would pick up my life in London and move it across the Gold Coast, and that didn't really happen. And I go into more about that in my other videos, so maybe I'll link them if people are interested. But yeah, it's been one hell of a ride, and I guess how did we make the decision that we were going to leave? So coming here, we knew we had to get back for a wedding in June in the UK. I was quite open-minded to whether that would be going back to the UK permanently or whether we would come back and continue our kind of Australian journey. I was probably more leaning towards the go back to the UK permanently. At that point, I thought Australia's probably not going to be the place for me. It was quite scary, to be honest. I think that was probably why I was erring towards going back to the UK. So we got here, and I had no idea about the working holiday visa or how hard it was going to be to get a job here. And it has been quite difficult. So, yeah, I guess to start from why have made the decision that we have. So, first thing is job. And I've spoken about this a lot on my channel. And I thought basically with the visa, you could get any job that you wanted. I thought I'd take my however many years of experience back in the UK, and it would put me in good stead here to get a similar job. Maybe not a straight move across, but probably just like a couple of levels below. And I got here and I've got an interview in marketing and comms. So I was really, really happy about that, and started the interview process. And doing that interview process, they spoke about sponsorship. So I was kind of then opened my mind, I guess, to potentially staying here longer and getting sponsored and setting life up here. And then it kind of quickly went downhill from there, and I didn't get any kind of movement in marketing or comms. There's certain visa restrictions that mean you're basically not very employable. So I've taken 3 jobs, 2 in retail, 1 in hospitality. I currently have 2, but I'm not really doing the other one. I'm mainly just working in hospitality. And that was really hard for me. I think being someone that's had a job since I've been 14, to not working and just being on a casual contract as well. You don't know what hours you're going to get every week, every Monday. Your kind of fate is decided on how much money you're going to get and what you're going to be doing that week in terms of work hours. And yeah, I've just really struggled. I struggled in the beginning finding a job, then I found a job, and then obviously the casual stuff, it gets to you. It really does. My heart goes out to the people that survive on 0 hour contracts because it's just really not fun. I'm someone that loves stability and security, and casual contracts don't really give you that. It also just hasn't felt like I basically feel like I have so much energy to give, and these jobs that I do in retail and hospitality just don't feel like I'm using my knowledge or skills to like the best of its ability, I guess. And I've always just felt a bit of a lack of being, I guess. I'm not one of those people that like wants to work all hours of the day and work till 9 p.m. But I do want to have a job that fulfills me and that I get recognition from a professional sense, and I feel like I'm kind of going somewhere and achieving something. I don't really know how to put that into words, but I feel like I've got big goals and I want to make a really big impact in the world and make a difference. And in the jobs that I currently have, that just isn't possible. It's just you don't really rise up the ranks, especially being on a working holiday visa. So yeah, I've just felt a little bit lackluster in that area of my life. And coming here, I've realised that that is such a big, important thing for me, a big important value or way that I want to live my life. I want to have a job and work in an organisation that really means something, and I go to work every day feeling, yeah, just a sense of purpose, really. I think that's really what it comes down to. So I struggled with that in the beginning, and then got a job that I felt I liked. The hospitality job is good, like there's nice people, it's a nice environment to work in. But yeah, I just never felt it just never felt right in your gut. And Hamish was also just not absolutely loving his job. So we just found ourselves in a bit of a rut where we were working so much, because that's another thing on a 0 hour contract. You have to work a lot of hours to be able to afford life, really. So spending so much time working in jobs that we just weren't really loving, and we just kind of looked at each other and we were like, what are we doing here? What kind of point are we trying to prove, I guess? And it's hard because you don't want to give up on something. We are not quitters, but there's also something in just not doing something because you don't want you're worried about other people's opinions, or you feel like you should do a certain thing. Like people were telling us, oh no, 6 months isn't long enough and you need to do X, Y, Z. And we just thought in our soul, in our heart, we are not happy here and this needs to change. And honestly, since we'd made that decision, it feels like a weight is lifted off my shoulders. I feel like the fog has cleared. I'm able to see Australia for what it is, a beautiful, beautiful country with so much to give, and able to just treat it like it is going to be now, just a working holiday, and make the most of the time we got here. So once we had a deadline, honestly, I was like voice noting my friends, and one of my best friends was just like, oh my God, Heidi, you sound beaming. Like, you sound so positive. And I was like, it is because we've made this decision. And it's not going to be for everyone. Some people will want to stick it out and be here longer. And that's totally okay as well. Like, I found myself comparing myself to other people that have given it, I guess, like more of a shot, or stayed here longer, or given it more effort. I don't know. I just found myself comparing myself, and I was like, do you know what? No, this is right for you. And I think one other thing, I guess, to talk about is that was the driver of our move. Job was obviously a big driver, but also just like loved ones and community. And we just haven't we've got some great friends here for sure, but I just think my community back in London is just so, so special. Like, I hold my friends so dear to my heart and love them so dearly, and just have such a great community back in London that I haven't really found here. So I've done like Bumble and found other friends through, found a friend through YouTube, and that's been great. And I've had some really good friends. shout out Laura, really, really good friend who's been, yeah, like a beacon of light in my Gold Coast experience. But she's actually moved to Bali, so she's left me as well. And we've obviously got Hamish's friends, Hamish's school friends, and it's been so great getting to know them, and they are absolute gems as well. But I just feel like being around my loved ones and not missing out on stuff. Like, luckily, we haven't missed out on too much being here for only 6 months, but there's hen dos and there's babies and watching my friends' kids grow up. And I've got friends that are going to leave the UK soon and I want to spend time with them and want to see my niece and nephew grow up and all these milestones they're hitting and be there for my sister as a support. And yeah, we've had some family stuff go on and just being so far away, that has been really difficult. And we've just felt like it wasn't a big enough sacrifice. Like, we weren't getting enough positives for the negatives that a move across the world brings. So yeah, that is kind of why we've made the decision. It feels right. Ever since we've made the decision, we keep just looking at each other and just being like, yeah, this feels like the right time. Now it's a couple of weeks away. We don't know what our London life is going to look like. So I've started kind of interviewing and job applications and stuff. And honestly, even that has just given me a pep in my step. I've just feel like a new, brand new person already, just having that and the prospect of these jobs that I know is going to bring a lot of value to my life, and looking at kind of like extracurricular stuff I could do back home, because a lot of the stuff that I did in London isn't really available here in the Gold Coast, even though I've tried to get into like the local theatre group and stuff. I never got an email back. So yeah, I just feel like this is completely the right thing for us, and we're really, really happy to have made the decision. And we've got such a big adventure in store. So before we go to London, we're actually traveling South America for 4 weeks, which is crazy to say that. Again, that doesn't really feel real yet. I feel like the whole last 6 months has just felt like a fever dream. And the next month is going to also feel like a fever dream. Basically, literally, yeah, dreams come true. So we've got that, and hopefully I'll take you along with some of that. And hopefully you just stick with me on this journey. I don't know what the next couple of months are going to look like. I don't know what my new life in London is going to look like. But I just know, yeah, I'd love to take you along with me. And I've really enjoyed YouTube, and hopefully you'll stick with me. But yeah, Australia has been absolutely incredible. I look back with such fond memories, and I've grown so much as a person. I've learned so many lessons that I just never ever expected to learn. I think that's the biggest thing. I've grown in ways that I couldn't even think that I would. And yeah, I guess that's my piece of advice. If you want to do something, do it. But also, if that thing is not suiting you or you don't feel right about it, also change things up. Like, don't feel like you have to stick at something just because you said you were going to do X, Y, and Z. That is definitely a lesson that I've learned, that just take all of the expectation and the pressure off, and what do you really want in your heart? And our heart is to go home. So I'm definitely going to miss the Gold Coast. Definitely going to miss all of the weather, the wildlife, the pace of life. I've loved slowing down and just taking some time out. It's been really, really beneficial. And here's to the next chapter. So thank you so much for joining me on this life update. Hopefully I've covered everything I wanted to cover. I've been trying to film this video, as I said. There's been like bin check-ins interrupting. There's been all sorts happening, but the news is out. I'm officially leaving Australia, and I feel very content and happy with that decision. Gold Coast just wasn't the place for me, and there's no shade, there's nothing negative about that. It just is not my place, and I can't wait to be back in London with my community, my people, and just see what the next couple of years kind of have in store. Thank you to Australia for everything that you have given us. And it's definitely not goodbye. It's a see you soon, because obviously we'll be back. Hamish is from here. His family, his friends are here. And I would definitely want to visit a lot more than we did before, because they have been so welcoming and amazing for us coming here. And it's been such an experience getting to know them. But yes, thank you so much for watching me. Hopefully you'll stick with me on this journey. And yeah, I really, really appreciate. I know I sound like I sound like a broken record, but thank you so much for joining me on this journey. It's been a whirlwind, and yeah, I really appreciate all your support. So thank you so much. Lots of love as always. Have a great day, whatever you're doing, and I'll see you again next time.